What is happening, guys? Olizandri here with my first video of the new DLC, just to bring you my thoughts and some gameplay. TDM on Stockpile, which is my favourite map of the four. But I don't want to go into, you know, this map is good because of this, or this map is good because of that. I don't want to do anything like that. I actually want to explain to you what I think about them as a whole. And I'm kind of analysing them mixed up with the First Strike DLC as well, which of course I was really happy with the First Strike DLC. Of course there was no rehash maps from previous Call of Duty games, which I could just pop in my disc tray and play them if I wanted to in their original, well, how they're supposed to be played fashion, not with Modern Warfare 2 kill streaks, which kind of made me happy, let's put it that way. It made me feel like I was getting more value for money, let's put it that way. I had like, well, brilliant views of that, and of course it had Stadium in it, which was, it kind of balanced out the map pack as a whole, because the first map pack was very much on the side of 3 large maps and 1 medium small map with Stadium, which I didn't think was the right way to balance, because Call of Duty to me is a fast paced frenetic FPS, and this is why it's loved, this is why it's so popular, and this is why it makes good YouTube videos, more or less. It's just the action is really super fast paced, and Treyarch must know what kind of maps that people like to play. I mean, whenever you're in a lobby and, for example, Nuketown or Summit or Firing Range comes up, 9 times out of 10, and you'll probably agree with me on this, they are the ones that are voted for. 9 times out of 10 on top of that, they are voted for twice. Now, why are these maps liked so much? More to the point, why can't Treyarch figure that out? Because they collect all these stats all the time. I mean, when you're in a lobby, you see these stats running across the bottom, like 100 million COD points have been earned, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And of course they've released like figures like the top 3 most used weapons and all that before in the past. So they have all these stats that go about making the game. However, when they seem to make map packs, they seem to take this approach of quality over quantity, and I'll kind of explain what I mean by that analogy, because it's probably not meant in the exact way that it sounds. They seem to make all these maps, or at least with the Escalation DLC, they've made 4 large maps, and I think that's a massive issue. This isn't Battlefield, this isn't Homefront, this is Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is best served by fast-paced action. Small maps, not so much width, just like you spawn, you move 3 to 5 seconds, and you can get yourself in a gunfight. No 30-second, 1 minute walking around a map trying to find an enemy. Fast-paced gameplays. Gameplays on Firing Range, gameplays on Summit, gameplays on Nuketown, they generally end within 4 to 5 minutes on a TDM. Gameplays on the new maps last anywhere upwards of 7 minutes. I kind of like put in there the fact that no one is comfortable with moving around yet. Everyone is just finding their favourite corner and camping, especially with the amount of ghosts that I'm seeing around. Ooh, now you know I have no problem with ghosts as a whole, as long as the person is using it as an offensive rushing perk and not sitting in a corner. But everyone is finding their favourite corner and just bedding down, and no one seems to be willing to explore the map all that much and just, you know, use their legs. And that's kind of just how it'll be for the first couple of weeks. So the players are kind of like messing with the map pack in my scale of things as well. It's just kind of like not working. But the big maps don't help that. Now, with all these gameplays, all these like Firing Range and all that, everything happens so fast. It's fun. Small is fun. Fast pace is fun. Big maps like this, they're fun for like a little bit. They're fun to like try things out on. But when it comes down to it, what is going to be more fun? Summit, or one of these new maps after a bit? These maps are loved so much just because of the amount of action, the amount of entertainment provided. The new maps that are coming out, 7 out of 8, in fact, of the map pack DLC so far have been large maps where you can spend that time not finding anyone to kill, being completely devoid of action. That's not fun. Treyarch have all these stats. They see which maps are voted up, but they don't make more small maps. So quality over quantity is kind of like the fact that they're making these big maps with all these buildings to hide in, all these buildings everywhere, all these intricate little overcomplicated things like lifts and doors and all this jazz, these little gimmicks. Instead of making 4 gigantic maps, why not just make 6 smaller maps? Cut the development time, make 6 COD maps, if you know what I mean. Not, oh, very noob move there, I mean, can't help it, put bullets into people, think, yeah, that should be enough to get them killed. You kind of like think, well, let's move on to the next target, and they actually went last stand, and you've turned away, and you're like, oh, Jesus, and then you get shot in the back by someone who seems to have reactions that are better when they're in last stand than they ever are when they're not in last stand. It's what the hell ridiculous. Noob move, we'll put it that way. So, after all that kind of like negativity towards map sizing, I'm just going to say, I'm just trying to clarify really that I'm not a hater of Black Ops or anything like that. I mean, all these maps are good as standalone maps. They're not bad by any sense of purpose, but I just can't understand some of the thoughts that go into like Treyarchs' decision process when they have these stats there that show them what maps people like. They're like trying to go completely away from what it is that the player base actually votes to play. So I just can't understand that in a sense. I mean, I love Call of Duty Black Ops. It's my favourite Call of Duty. Like, that's just my opinion of things. Like, some people like Final Fantasy 7, where I personally, my favourite Final Fantasy so far has been Final Fantasy 8. It's just that kind of thing. I think it's one of the most balanced CODs ever. So it's not that I'm trying to hate on the game, but it's just I can't understand some of the decisions that gone in. I'm not a games developer, so I can't necessarily criticise Treyarch. I'm just a player giving my opinion of what I think is kind of like a failing of the DLC so far. We just need more short, medium-sized maps. Small maps give action. Small maps are the kind of like essence of Call of Duty. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on my kind of, you know, my thought process. If you agree, if you disagree, please like post in the comments below. We'll have a nice chat. This has been Olizandri. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. I will see you guys around. Cheers for watching.